Hey everybody, thanks for coming out. Welcome to the Retronauts panel for Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2022. It's been a long 3 years, it's been 3 years I think, and happy to be here. I'm Bob Mackey, of course, the host of this panel. Before I tell you what it's about, who is here with me today, going this way?
We can get a little
I am Jeremy Parrish, and
external.
yes, I was going to make a joke about food, but I can't think of any.
That's good. Cool. Yep.
There'll be plenty of opportunities for that.
It doesn't bode well.
And I am Gary Butterfield, and if I ever catch that chuck wagon, I'm going to ask it how my wife and children are doing and ask it to tell them that I miss them.
We're going to learn a lot about the chuck wagon, which is different than the gravy train, I must admit. Yes, the topic of this panel is the history of food Mascot game. That's why you're here today. Show of hands, who has heard of food? Okay, who here enjoys eating food? Okay, you're going to hate this panel because it will make you hate food. And we're going to start with dog food. So it's just
Who here eats dog food?
Yeah, we've all tried it.
Those biscuits are surprisingly good, actually.
We've all tried it, and the commercials make it look so good. But yes, we're going to start by going over the history of food mascot games. And for this one, I'm focusing on the games where you play as the mascot for the food brand. And there are other games out there that are just kind of feature the food as like items or whatever. But in this case, it's like you're playing as the mascot or the star of the commercial in this case. And we're starting with Chase the Chuck Wagon. These ads have been off TV for, I don't know, I'm guessing 30 years at this point, but...
Oh, it's longer than that. This was like early 80s.
Yes, late 70s, early 80s. This dog food brand does not exist anymore, and the entire point of the brand was this chuck wagon would emerge from the TV in like a David Cronenberg-style manner, fly across the living room, enter the kitchen, the dog would chase it would chase it to the cabinet, but then the chuck wagon would disappear into the cabinet. When you open the cabinet, what's inside? A delicious bag of dog food. And that is the pitch behind Chuck Wagon.
The pupa phase.
Yes.
Of the chuck wagon.
You're going to want to spray for chuck wagons.
Yeah.
If you see one,
if you tap B, it'll stop evolving, and you can keep the chuck wagon.
But yeah, it's an entire dog food brand based around gaslighting your dog, and we're going to look at a lot of ads in this 45-minute panel. But we're going to start off with Chuck Wagon here to show you what it was.
Chuck Wagon, instant dinner for dogs. The right helpings of what dogs like best and need most. We took big, tender, juicy chunks, golden nuggets loaded with vitamins, and rich meat broth. We quick-dried it. To make Chuck Wagon what dogs like best and need most, just add warm water, and it comes back again instantly. Rich meat broth, golden nuggets, and red juicy chunks. Big, tender.
Try one. I was worried that this panel, being right before lunch, we'd all be too hungry to think, but I wanted to start us off with someone just gripping a big warm piece of dog food, and it's going to pop it into their mouths, I
Chunk or a
think.
nugget, Bob?
Yeah, it's doing wonders for my diet.
It's a nugget-style chunklet. But yes, I don't know if we're still pouring lukewarm water on dog. Is dog food still making its own gravy these days? Are we still doing this? Yeah, somebody out there says yes. In this man's house, gravy is being made on the floor right now while he's at the panel. So there was a game based on this famous commercial, and it was not something you could buy in stores. Basically, you had to send away to Purina. You had to send in your proofs of purchase to Purina. It's pretty rare for a 2600 game, although it's probably here for like $800 or more. I think I saw a sealed copy of Mario Kart 64 for $20,000, so it's within that range. And yes, in this game, you literally chase the chuck wagon, and I assume the appeal of this game is that you can do what the dog in the commercial never could. And here's some footage of Chase the Chuck Wagon. As you can see, it's like Pac-Man, but there's nothing to collect. You just sort of dock with the chuck wagon at the top of the screen as a bone strikes you, I guess. But and that was Chase the Chuck Wagon, everybody.
The dog is full of chunk points and nugget multipliers.
You have to dock with the chuck wagon and the bowl of dog food. It's very strange. Somebody in the audience said, I don't get it, but...
What's not to get? It's the commercial just writ large. It's come alive.
It's basically like a refueling sequence with a dog, right? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You basically steer yourself through these mazes. There's a dog capture area, which is like a ghost from Pac-Man. There is an object bouncing across the screen haphazardly. You avoid that. And apparently programmed in all of 3 days. And that's really how that works out for Chase the Chuck Wagon. And yeah, I think that is it for Chase the Chuck Wagon. I'm sorry to leave it behind, but we're starting with dog food. But we are moving on to Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid Man. Yes, there was a Kool-Aid Man game, 2 of them in fact, and based on the titular Kool-Aid Man, of course. He's a sentient pitcher. We all love him. He came back. I was just doing research about like where's Kool-Aid Man now, and Kool-Aid Man is the reason Mr. Peanut lives today. Kool-Aid Man was at Mr. Peanut's funeral with Mr. Clean. I'm not making this up. There was a commercial about this.
Yeah, this sounded, but they killed Mr. Peanut, and then he got reborn, like
Yeah.
in What We Do in the Shadows. Like there's a baby Peanut that crawled from his desiccated husk.
And Mr. Kool-Aid, excuse me, Kool-Aid Man.
Doctor.
Dr. Kool-Aid, he cried Kool-Aid tears on the grave, and that's where Mr. Peanut came back. That's how it happened. So he's in popular culture today. But yes, he didn't always have arms and legs, and I'm going to show you this, because he started out as the Pitcher Man in 1954, and by 1974, he grew the arms and legs and did the smashing through drywall bit that we left today. So we can look at his mythic origins as the Pitcher Man, which sounds like a serial killer. But
So he gained the arms that Grimace lost, is that what you're saying?
I think they were in the same operating room.
All right. It all comes together.
And then they like reduced the arms and legs to be smaller and not purple. But here's the Pitcher Man in an old
Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid,
For the very best drink you ever made.
Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid,
Be sure that the envelope says
Kool-Aid.
You can give your youngsters a lot of pleasure with Kool-Aid. You know it's pure and good. It has the Parents Magazine seal. And it's so thrifty. A 5-cent package makes 2 full quarts.
So there you go. They're giving away the secret recipe of Kool-Aid on that commercial. Yeah, so that's the original Kool-Aid Man, of course, the one that we all know and love. I mean, when I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, he stopped doing property damage, Kool-Aid Man. He was more about like surfing with dinosaurs, doing extreme radical Poochie-style maneuvers in his commercials.
He still busted up houses in comic books.
That's
I remember
true.
him in the back ad of comic books having like destroyed Luke Cage's house or something.
But they weren't broadcasting that filth on TV.
No, it was After Dark. It was the Max line.
Yes. It was a Vertigo comic.
Yeah.
It was a Vertigo comic. But yes, in the 70s ads, some of us in here might be old enough to have known about them, but maybe not. Kool-Aid Man would hear the cries of thirsty children. He would destroy a part of whatever building they were in order to serve Kool-Aid to them. And part of the fun of these ads was watching a man in a Kool-Aid suit nearly kill himself performing these antics. And also watching someone who can't see pour a giant pitcher of Kool-Aid for children.
The ontology of it's great too because he is Kool-Aid, and he's serving himself to humans.
It's very Christ-like.
It's incredibly Christ-like.
Before we blast you anymore, here is a clip of a classic Kool-Aid commercial from the 70s.
Kool-Aid sure makes me hot and thirsty. This is the job for Kool-Aid. Hey, Kool-Aid!
Oh yeah! Kool-Aid got thirst on the run, get a big wide happy ear to wear Kool-Aid smile now. Kool-Aid smile, Kool-Aid smile, Kool-Aid smile, Kool-Aid smile.
Your friend's cool. My friend's Kool-Aid.
Watch as he doesn't go through the wall this time. Nope, we can only afford one wall for the
That keychain was amazing. The key change. The singer just suddenly reverted back from puberty midway through the song.
He was pulling from Pet Sounds, I think, with that riff.
If Kool-Aid Man existed, it would be necessary to destroy him.
Yes.
If that existed back then, that would be a disaster. It would be a nationwide thing hunt.
We would be chasing him down the street screaming, "Evil dies tonight."
Yeah.
Kool-Aid Man was real. But yeah, so that's Kool-Aid Man. I guess there was a boom in the masonry industry at the time with all the walls he was destroying, which is probably why he had to cut it out. But there was
It was part of the New Deal, actually.
Oh, it was like giving someone like a job to dig a ditch. It was like, you wrecked the wall, you rebuild it. And together we rebuild America. The Atari 2600 game is another thing you sent away for, just like the Purina Chase the Chuck Wagon game. And you needed 125 Kool-Aid points in order to get this game. And I did the math because a packet of Kool-Aid had either 1 or 2 points on it, depending on what flavor it was or whatever. And you would need to ingest between 30 to 60 pounds of sugar to play Kool-Aid Man. So I think the ADA had some hand in this too. They were getting kids in the door. So yeah, and this game is actually not that bad because it looks like it's working within the boundaries of an Atari 2600 game. So let's take a look at the clip of the Kool-Aid Man game. They can't quite make the particle effects you need, so the wall opens like a garage door for Kool-Aid Man there. And yeah, basically in that game, you're collecting the Kool-Aid, and then if you collect sugar, water, or Kool-Aid, one of the 3 ingredients of Kool-Aid, you turn big and can destroy the thirsties, which is our natural enemy as human beings.
I don't like being thirsty. Do the Kool-Aids also have faces? I couldn't quite see it from here.
Oh, I think when you're in the game, he does not have a face.
It looked like the things you were collecting had faces.
I think so.
Yeah, the implication of sugar also being sentient. This gestalt being.
Yeah, it's
this near stuff.
So were the Thirsties part of the advertising campaign? Were they actually in there? I feel like you have all this sugar and you have the Thirsties, and then you have Crest with the cavity creeps, and it all just kind of feeds into itself.
The Soggies too.
Yeah, don't forget the Soggies.
So I feel like there was just kind of this vicious cycle happening of food.
They made a documentary about it. It's called The Warriors. They just took all those guys and had them fight.
I think the Thirsties were part of the Kool-Aid Man extended universe. If you read the comics, they showed up in there. But yeah, that was Kool-Aid Man, and we have to move on to McDonald's, because there are some McDonald's games. We're going to talk about one of them today. Probably not the one you're expecting. It's called Donald Land, because in Japan, Ronald McDonald is known as Donald McDonald. Same guy, I think. I think he just has an alias there. And yeah, based on the famous McDonald Land's character, which we all probably know. We all grew up with some form of it. And yeah, these started in the 70s, and there's an interesting backstory behind these guys, because in the 70s, it was a bad time for children because Sid and Marty Krofft ruled the airwaves. And you might be familiar with some of their horrible creations, but because of that, McDonald's, the company, said, we're going to hire some of these people to make our puppets for us, and then instead of paying you, we'll just reap all the rewards. So there was a big lawsuit there. And if you're not familiar with Sid and Marty Krofft, I can show you one of their most famous heroes of the 70s. I think it's coming up next year. There we go.
Rest and work and good nutrition keeps us all in good condition. Don't you agree, Society Tree? Why do you think I'm stretching my legs? To keep you growing, right? Right. And 1 and 2 and 2 times more, it's time for breakfast, furthermore.
There was only 10 seconds more of that clip, but I did cut it off. Now, Jeremy, were you too young for HR Pup and stuff in the whole?
Yeah, that actually predates me very slightly.
I thought so.
But the general LSD culture that spawned it, I still remember that.
Yes, I could see
flashbacks.
If Jeremy had grown up with HR Pup and stuff, I could see the haunted look in his eyes, but it wasn't there when I looked over at him.
So is Donald Land the first game, or actually the only game, to star Willard Scott?
Oh, I think they had moved on from him at this point.
He'll always be Willard Scott in my heart.
Was he like the 50s Ronald McDonald? Yeah, because Ronald McDonald this is important for everyone to know, Ronald McDonald predates McDonald Land. I don't know if he founded it, or if it was his own creation, or if he merely dreamed it. But I want to check out right now, this next clip. You can see the psychedelic origins of McDonald Land. It's steeped in like early 70s drug culture, and I've had this song in my head for about 5 days since I pulled this clip. But you can see just the horrific beginnings of McDonald Land and how it was really sanitized for kids of the 80s and 90s.
Take along a friend and grab a hold of Ronald's hand. Follow Ronald McDonald to the land of apple pie trees. And don't be surprised if you meet Big Mac and Big Cheese.
I will be surprised.
There's thick-shaped volcanoes. You'll even find a French fry patch. Now just turn around and see if you won't find a hamburger patch.
Just like silence. Will,
Like, sound like that song could have just went on forever with just new rhymes about food. And don't be alarmed if the big bad police.
I mean, there are some notable characters that are missing there.
Tons.
No Hamburglar, because I think in this world he's basically their Ted Bundy. You're not going to see him.
He started out as a good guy. He used to be Captain Crook.
Oh, was he Captain Crook? Okay.
Well, no, Captain Crook was another guy, but that was the villain.
Yeah, he was like the pirate guy.
Yeah, he was a pirate who sold their stuff that was based on filet-o-fish.
Right. I guess a lot of the McDonaldland characters were then reformed. Like Grimace had multiple arms, like you said, Jeremy, and then they sawed some of them off, gave them the Kool-Aid Man, and he became good.
Yeah, they were the evil arms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he was the milkshake mascot. So yeah.
He stole milkshakes originally, but,
that's right.
But they reformed him.
And Jeremy is
very offensive Irish uncle as well, who's the Shamrock Shake guy.
The early version of McDonaldland looks like the cover art for all the albums you like.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I think it's also notable that these commercials coincided with the kind of the height of the serial killer epidemic in America.
That's right. That's right.
I don't think these things are unrelated.
It's haunting. It's haunting. So thankfully, Donaldland is not as disturbing. It's developed by Data East. It uses the seldom seen character Uncle O Grimace. You can see him in this game. And yeah, in this game, Mayor McCheese hires Ronald to take out an evil clown because Officer Big Mac, we all know he's a dirty cop. He's not going to do his job. And it's a fairly basic platformer. You can throw bombs, you can jump on the bombs. And here's a little bit of Donald, liberating Grimace from his captor.
Soundtrack goes very hard.
I think he trips. And didn't come out in America because in between levels you buy McDonald's. I think that's probably why it didn't come out. But they could have reskinned it or something.
Yeah, I'm surprised by how little that actually looks like Ronald McDonald. I feel like that's actually a less accurate take, Japan's take on Ronald in the Bishojo version that we've seen.
He should be more tall and slender though, but I guess the sprite can only be so big, right?
Well, also yellow. Like his outfit was red there.
That's right, that's right.
It's just defying canon all around.
I think it might be Circus Charlie and not Ronald McDonald. I think he was
the Nightmare.
It might be Kid Clown, right?
Yeah, Kid Clown.
Oh yeah, and so I have a few more clips of this. So there was a brief time period in which the Ronald McDonald characters did interact with Mario.
Mario! Look, Ronald, Mario's mystery plot makes him big.
And my magic box makes us lunch.
There you go. It's one of many commercials that think Mario hits the block with his head and not his fist, which always bothered me as a kid. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's very
upsetting.
clear.
Yeah.
He punches bricks and Yoshi. It's very clear.
He hammer punches Yoshi. But yes, that's already looking better than this new Super Mario Brothers movie, in my opinion. So a weird thing happened when I pitched this panel in August. The Happy Meal characters came back. The McDonaldland characters came back.
Have you seen them?
Yes, I have a clip.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I think
this
he meant
is
in
great
person.
if you haven't seen this.
They have not made any public appearances yet, but here's the clip. There you have it. So they're back, folks.
Everyone knows these characters have two eyes, but this commercial presupposes what if
Back
they didn't?
and so are the chosen gems.
They're back and they're dabbing. They're dabbing all over the place. And yeah, they're selling adult Happy Meals. So it's weird that 3 characters I'm talking about on this panel, they're all back now post-COVID. Because we're just all searching for something, I think. And I don't know, I guess they're given freedom to just do whatever they want. Like, yeah, Hamburger's got 4 eyes, who cares?
It's a collaboration with like an art collective, like a vinyl art toy maker.
Right.
Because their mascot also shows up. And I imagine
Yeah.
if I were to get one of these toys and I want like a fuckable hamburger, I'm gonna be real mad if I get this vinyl art toy.
The smiley face man?
Yeah, I don't want to just like get a random guy. I want a guy who burgles hams.
It reminds me of what they do with the Archie characters now, where they don't care what is happening as long as they're in public opinion or in the public eye. So it's like, yeah, Jughead is a bisexual werewolf. Have fun with him. They're all witches now, I guess. I don't know what's happening in that show. So we're gonna move on to the Noid. He's the star of the show. That's why he's the center panel here. And to answer your question, who is the Noid? I have a little clip here that will answer every question.
Look, it's a Noid. Noid. He ruins pizzas.
Yes, he does ruin pizza. Thank you. I didn't even write that clip. Everyone's laughing at it. It's great. My job's very easy. So a very short-lived mascot because it ended in tragedy, although he did come back. So 86 to 90, the Noid, I found through my research, Domino's employees were called Dominoids, maybe internally, so maybe that's where that came from. I don't know, but that's the origin of the Noid. But he was part of the delivery boom when more and more places were delivering and pizzas were being ruined. And it was all, an attempt to let customers know your pizza will arrive on time and hot and not destroyed. And instead of blaming the poor teenager making minimum wage, you blame a pizza yokai, the small goblin who hates pizzas. And I guess that's fair. But there's nothing funny about how it ended because it ended in a standoff with people.
Did you expect that?
No. I mean, do your own research, people. Look it up for yourselves. But yes, the story of how the Noid ended sounds made up, but it's not. Some guy with a real last name Noid thought they were talking about him and guns were involved. Thankfully, no one was killed. But
he held he took over Domino's.
Yes.
Like it was like Cadillac Man.
And
little Cadillac Man bull. But he went in and took it over. Yeah.
he did. Thankfully, no fatalities, which is why we're allowed to talk about the Noid today. And unfortunately, the NES game came out after that standoff.
Every year we celebrate Noid Day in remembrance.
My Noid flag is at half-mast today. So
dreadful euphemism, Bob.
Yes, I'm sorry. So yes, there are two Noid games. We'll look at both of them. The first one is called Avoid the Noid, in which you play as a very athletic Domino's pizza delivery man. You have to basically make your way to the top of this 30-floor building, avoiding Noids as you go, and we can see a brief clip of it here. It has very annoying sound effects. Get ready for it, everybody. That was a jump scare, I think. 1989.
The inspiration for Five Nights at Freddy's.
I think so, yeah. I mean, that's based around pizza too, right? Yeah. Good point. So, if you want to see the best person ever who plays this game, there was a Games Done Quick run of Avoid the Noid, and they were very good at it. So someone devoted their life to becoming the best at that game.
I didn't realize the Noid did manslaughters like that. I thought it was just ruining pizza, but
he's a domestic terrorist.
He dumpstered that kid.
Yeah.
That guy's gone.
So up next we have the other Noid game, which is depicted in this the center art on the thing you're seeing here. Yo Noid, that's what you say to the Noid, and it's a fairly okay platformer. It's developed by Now Production, and I was looking at what they made. A lot of B-tier platformers like Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu, Adventure Island 224. The Famicom Splatterhouse game, they're still around today. They worked on, the most recent game is Deadly Premonition 2. And Yo Noid is actually basically a large-scale ROM hack of another Capcom game called Kamen no Ninja Hanamaru. And I have a little clip here that can show you how much they changed between the two games here. So it does put you in the, the onesie of the villain. You're not playing the hero of Domino's. I guess in Avoid the Noid, you are the hero of Domino's delivery people. We salute them.
Yeah, every Memorial Day.
But yeah, it's a fairly confident game. I think a lot of people thought it was a bad game just based on the source material, but
it's got a nasty first level.
Yeah,
the first level is really hard with the rising and lowering flood tide, and it gets more reasonable after it goes.
It's got a really cool graphical effect on that level, but it does start off pretty rough. And because there is no, I didn't capture a Noid commercial, but there is no Noid universe like McDonald Lane. It's just the Noid versus pizza. There are no supporting characters. There's no police version of the Noid. There's no Noid monster, you know, that he hangs out with. It's just him. So they have to say, oh, a green Noid did something bad, and now the red Noid has to fight him.
So it's kind of getting into kryptonite lore.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Venom versus Carnage kind of stuff. Anti-hero.
And, oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
No.
Okay, and I guess it does encourage people to devour the product because in between levels you are doing a pizza eating contest, so that is what's going on in Yo Noid. And yeah, the Noid came back in a surprising way, and in a way that also references the Yo Noid video game, and we'll see a clip of that here with a recent commercial.
Domino's, we're constantly innovating to find better ways to deliver you pizza, which is why we're testing driverless delivery powered by Neuro, and it's got someone back to their old habits.
So there you go. They're referencing Yo Noids! This commercial speaks to me.
I like that they're doing driverless vehicles, so they're keeping up with the history of manslaughter.
Yes.
No, it does.
And in this case, I think the Noid is a hero because these robots are taking away valuable jobs in our dying economy. The Noid is trying to stop them. The Noid wants workers back in the restaurants, I think.
When he's not doing this, he's throwing those scooters in a river.
He's torching WeWorks. He's really up the game here.
Comrade Noid, eh?
Yes.
I'm expecting that for 2022.
It's him and Gritty working together.
Yeah.
I think. They're Antifa super soldiers, folks. And I want to play another clip of a recent Noid usage. Now, what I want to do is go back in time and show this to somebody living in 1997, and then answer no follow-up questions at all. Just say, take this in. This is what the future is like for you in 2022.
While you're waiting for your Domino's delivery, avoid the Noid in the new Crash Bandicoot on the Run mobile game. Try it while you wait for your delivery from Domino's.
I will answer a few follow-up questions, actually. Let's see, well, Crash Bandicoot does deliver pizzas now, but the air isn't safe to breathe anymore. And the Noid is still an issue. We still have not destroyed him.
There's a real end of history feel about all this stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit depressing, but we can all eat after this and feel better. So yeah, the Noid is back in cell phone game form. I guess Universal might own the Noid. I don't know because he's working with Crash Bandicoot now. I have no idea. We will figure out the secrets of Noid ownership later. So yeah, that's the Noid, and I like how in the center picture here, that's the image you get when you win. So I think he's like tortured by his own victory because the point was the chase all along.
No more lands to conquer.
Yes, exactly.
Ozymandias.
The Noid wept.
Well, and then he became Wario, so it all works out.
That's true. When you peel back the Noid costume, Wario was under there. And then he grew the mustache, of course. Moving on to Spot, the little anthropomorphic Spot from the 7-Up sodas. And yeah, first appeared in '87. And yeah, he is the mascot for 7-Up, although he came about later. I was doing some research on the history of 7-Up, and I found out it was one of those sodas that included cool drugs in it, and then the government made them take it out.
No.
Yes, so until 1948, 7-Up had lithium in it. And now you need a prescription for that. But in '48, that's what the up was. Like, oh, I feel better. It's because you're getting doped up by your clear beverage, right?
In my head, I just got lithium confused with one of the downer drugs, and I got very confused.
Same here.
Like, I think I was thinking of ether. Like 7 ether.
No, I think like Mellow Yellow had barbiturates in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spot didn't come around until '87, but I found an ad that might have inspired him that's also based on Pac-Man. So you can see they're playing with the idea of a Spot-style character to represent their beverage, and here it is.
You never lose, and 7-Up's the only you choose.
Why is this sexy?
And does Spot have 7? Yeah, he has 7.
He has no eyes.
7-Up, the difference is clear. That's what only it can do. Nothing else comes near.
So I think the commercial is about 90 seconds long, but throughout the course of it, he does chug about 8 7-Up bottles. And so they're playing with the idea, like, what if the doc came to life and did stuff?
And did boudoir photography. Like, the tone of that is extremely intimate.
It's a little much.
Reason.
It's a little much. But yeah, so eventually the spot came along when 7-Up said, let's 80s him up. And they gave him cool sunglasses, and they gave him shoes and gloves with dots on them. And they showed a world where he came to life when no one was looking. It's like the soda-based Toy Story before Toy Story. And the ads are very cute and sweet, and here's one of them.
Now there's Spot, the video game. Ask your parents to see specially marked bottles of 7-Up for detail.
He's an Is from the Max. That's exactly.
Oh,
Oh,
he
he does
does.
look like it is. Yeah, yeah.
He's the red is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see, we'll talk about the game that they showed off. I'm not accusing them of being dishonest, but it seems like with how quickly they zoomed into Spot, they're like, you should know this is a puzzle game
Yeah.
because you won't care.
Hey kids, do you like Reversey?
No. But yeah, that's the first game. I think it's just called Spot, the video game. And basically, is it Reversey? Is it Othello? Or are they all the same?
They're the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
same, yeah.
I guess Othello's the licensed.
Othello's the more
Reversey.
Shakespearean
Othello is
version.
the one owned by Sakuda Original, the creators of the Othello Multivision console clone of the SG-1000. If you want to know more about Othello, just ask me, because I've had to cover it so many times in my videos.
Perhaps is there a book I can read about this? Okay, I think that's coming. It's coming soon. But yes, Spot the video game. Yeah, essentially it is basically battle chess or battle reversey with Spot characters. And it's just a basic puzzle game based on an existing puzzle game, but there are lots of really cool animations, and this is published by Virgin Interactive, and it shows off like what their brand of video game would be like. Not amazing gameplay, but very cool little animations, and here's a few of them I stitched together from the NES game here. There you go. So I guess it enhances the experience. I'm not sure.
It probably does at first, and then when you just want to play some damn Reversey, he keeps doing these little movements.
I think you can turn the animations off,
Okay.
thankfully.
Just
to
as a
speed things
Reversey.
along. They're really they're messing with the sanctity of Reversey with these moonwalks.
It's
these
Perversey.
Perversey.
There's a reason the follow-up game was called Cool Spot, because the first game wasn't.
That's true because yeah, Cool Spot is the next game. And if I might slander Earthworm Jim a few times, it plays a lot like that because a lot of these Virgin Interactive games, like Aladdin and Earthworm Jim and this, they all have the same kind of game design. They all have very big levels, although in this case it does make sense because you are a little spot in a very big world. And just like lots of big levels, lots of things to collect. You're shooting a thing that goes in 8 different directions, so it's a lot like Earthworm Jim. Here's a bit of Cool Spot, which is, not a bad game. And I enjoy his little jive walk. It's very cute.
It's not enough to just drive the crabs from their homes. He's got to summarily execute them afterwards.
He's an invasive species, I think.
Yeah.
Cool Spots. But yeah, that's Cool Spot. Not a lot to say about it. There was a contest, and I can't find out what you won. If you finish the game on card and collect every letter in the phrase Uncola, which was the catchphrase for the soda before Spots, you win something. But I don't know what that is.
Probably just a can of 7-Up.
Yes. Signed by Spot himself.
No big prizes.
With lithium.
But yeah, that is Spot, and my pages are stuck together here. Here we go. What's next? Okay, we're not going to close on this. We're almost done, though. So up next, we have Pepsi Man. I know people are excited for this. This Pepsi Man never came to America. I think Pepsi of America's campaign at the time was like the Joy of Cola or something. It was the ba 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 era of Pepsi. This is way better though, because this is based on a short-lived Japanese ad campaign for Pepsi, where this liquid metal CGI man would show up and injure himself. He's sort of like Kool-Aid Man, but he was to be made the subject of fun when he appeared.
This is also, for the record, for my money, the most fun video game that we're talking about. Like this holds up pretty well. If you've never played Pepsi Man, it's fun in the hands. It's neat. It's kind of ahead of its time.
It's almost like a runner.
Yeah.
Like it kind of predicted. I'm sure there were other games like this, but there are so many games like this now where this was kind of unique at the time.
It's a run away from the camera game that works finally.
There was actually a precedent in Namco's Metro Cross, a game where you jump what appear to be Coca-Cola cans.
Oh yes, that's
so
right.
it's a really weird kind of synergy sorts.
What do you know what your era that's from?
Oh, that's like 85.
Okay, I thought it was much earlier than this. But yes, it's all about Pepsi. We'll show you a clip of Pepsi Man in a second, but I think these really emerged in the early aughts where the sentiment was like, oh, wacky Japan is at it again. But if you watch these commercials now, you're like, they know it's funny. They know it's like a funny, silly character. So here is Pepsi Man.
Pepsi. Sorry, sold out of Pepsi.
It's filmed in LA.
I think they're all filmed in America.
That was Pepsi Man 1. Here's Pepsi Man 2, his son.
There you have it. And I mean, if you, we're going to look at the clips of the game soon. A lot of this is making fun of us. It's just like, you want your sugar water, don't you?
Do you have the framing device, the guy?
For the game, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I have that
That's
guy.
definitely making fun of me specifically. It feels like.
Well, you're not wearing your spring break T-shirts.
No, well, you don't know what I'm wearing.
Oh, that's true.
Rip.
Gary's going to reveal it. I kind of want that guy's shirt.
Spring Portland.
And what I found for the first time, this is not rare, but I didn't know these existed. There is a female Pepsi Man that I think people would be horny for if it was out today. And we're going to see this now.
Bet, huh?
What's that?
Seems like a safe bet.
I mean, maybe I can start something online. Who knows? Deviant Artists. You can watch this and tell me what you think. Someone had a really funny tweet that said people would be horny for Beavis today. Like Beavis is low key nice with it. Was the tweet? I think they would be saying that about Miss Pepsi Man or Pepsi Man Twist or something.
Or just Pepsi Man himself.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, any Pepsi people.
We could
Really,
be
if it
triggering.
exists, someone's probably horny for it.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't have the tools back then to render it.
There's an episode of the new Beavis and Butthead where somebody's horny for Beavis.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
The
future is now.
But yeah, that's where the character came from, and we can.
Do you mean that's his mom?
I don't know if it's like a budding process or Pepsi Man eggs.
Come down his back like one of those horrible frogs.
I don't know what's going on, or if they lay their Pepsi Man eggs in other species.
Yeah, I mean that's what you do when you
in
drink.
cases of 24 at the store.
Every one has a Pepsi Man egg inside. Now we're building like the horror version of this. But let's look at a clip of the Pepsi Man game as we wrap up here soon.
There are a bunch of people gathered in front of the vending machine. They want Pepsi. And the word is that they're just about to riot. I plan to head over there as soon as I can fix this flat. Pepsi
So there you go. I mean, it's fun. It's good.
He understands English, he just doesn't speak it.
No. He's like Neo when the agents visit him in his office. That's what happened to him. But yeah, Gary mentioned this earlier. There's a weird framing device that is taking some pot shots at giant Americans, like the man in this framing device, where he says things in a fun way, and he is often wiping potato chip grease on himself. So yeah, this is the man who is in the interstitial segments of the Pepsi Man game.
You're doing pretty good. Have a Pepsi. Next stage. Pepsi for TV game.
Oh, I like him.
Something of Pepsi Uncle.
Let's get there next year.
He is a Pepsi uncle, that's true. I don't know who he is. I don't know if that actor is still alive. That's his legacy, is just smearing chip grease on himself and saying Pepsi for TV game. He's more famous than me, so he's doing something right, I think. Any other Pepsi Man thoughts? We're moving on to our last topic here.
No.
Well, this topic was brought to me by Gary,
That's me.
who wanted to talk about Captain Crunch's Crunchling Adventure. Gary, what's going on here? I know this was a pack-in with the cereal. I have a clip of the framing device, or the opening cutscene.
So my friend who had a gaming PC in the 90s, which I did not, sent away for this. So he came, he had me over and he's like, hey, I got this game, it's based on Captain Crunch. I've been playing it, and he pulls it up. And you're training Crunchlings, which are a thing. They're a monster of some kind. And you're training them for like an Olympic Games, by ensuring that they have a balanced diet of different types of Captain Crunch. So like Crunch Berries, peanut butter Captain Crunches, and like mouth-destroying haystack things. And we
That was the fiberglass flavor.
Yeah, the Don't Bite in This Town cereal. But we played a lot of this for some reason, like because it was freeware on PC. And it's more appropriate because it's kind of a mascot. Like I was thinking about Chex Quest in this, but Chex Quest is a really good game, but there's no like the Chex Goblin or whatever.
No, you're like an anthropomorphic piece of Chex.
Yeah, you are Chex come to life in that. Like this is at least characters, and Captain Crunch is your coach. He comes and he kind of like, Whiplash, is that the movie? He comes and kind of yells at you when you're not doing well enough in this.
Yeah, it's like a series of mini games and also the like Tamagotchi.
Like a little Tamagotchi.
elements.
He lives in a cave. Like he's got a cave with unlimited Captain Crunch on tap.
It's teaching kids to have the right levels of Captain Crunch in your body at all times. It's like berries, peanut butter, and haystack.
Yeah, and haystack.
Haystack band.
They get your balance.
Here's the opening, or part of the opening. It reminds me of Avatar with this hunt for resources and different aliens and stuff.
That's a Crunchling.
Stealing all the Crunchium? Tearing down Crunchium City? Well, let's just have a talk with these Crunchium thieves. The leader of the Crunchium thieves was one tough customer. He and his band had vowed to tear down Crunchium City and destroy every last one of the Crunchlings.
You didn't think there'd be lore, did you? But there's lore.
We can see that Captain Crunch is trying diplomacy, and when that doesn't work, he resorts to violence. But yeah, there's a surprising amount of lore you learn about Crunchium, this element.
There's an element. He also he found them. It's similar to like the story with Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompas, how he found them and like gave them jobs.
Found them
and gave them jobs. It's real similar to that, except that they're like, I don't know how sentient the Crunchling is.
Yeah, I guess you find out in the end of the game.
Yeah, it writes an essay.
When they're all ushered into the factory.
It writes a song about how sad it is that it has to go.
Yes, they're all taken away from their own planet. But those are all the highlights of the History of Food Mascot games. Thanks for coming, everybody. And Gary, you're our special guest on this. Where can we find you? You've got some great podcasts.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm roughly one half of the duckfeed.tv podcast network. Usually we're here for Portland Retro Gaming Expo, but Cole, my partner, lives in Ohio, didn't want to fly out because of the old disease thing. But yeah, we do a podcast about video games and pop culture and stuff. Primarily of interest to this audience is probably Watch Out for Fireballs, which is a Games Club podcast. Comes out every Thursday. Check it out.
Oh, thank you, Gary. And I'm sure you guys know about Retronauts. You can find us online wherever you find podcasts. And we have a Patreon at patreon.com/Retronauts. Lots of extra stuff is there. But thanks for coming. Now go out and enjoy a warm bowl of dog food on us.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and to the right are the playlist of the Portland Retro 2022 and some other interesting videos. Thank you.